Hi guys, I hope you are doing well. In this session, we will see how we can define comments in Python programming, and we will explore Python print function and escape sequence characters. So guys, for your better understanding, please watch this entire session. So let's go to the Jupyter notebook. So here, first we will see how we can mention the comments. So guys, there are two types of comments in Python programming. First is single line of comment, and second is multiple line of comment. Okay. So in the Python programming, single line of comment start with hash special characters. Okay, so in some cases, let's say you want to mention the single line of comment. So using the hash, you can define the single line of comment. So guys, comment can basically use to explain what does your code, or using comment, our program can be more readable while you will mention the comments in your Python code. One important thing you need to keep in mind when you are mention the comments. Okay, so comments do not change the output of a program. It's just a user guide and nothing. I'm giving you example for your better understanding. If you are solving a problem or developing a project, so in the comment you can mention about some useful information about the project or what does your code. So in the future, if someone is reading your program, then he and she will not even understand your code, or while they can understand the your purpose of code after reading your comments. Okay, so guys, it's just a piece of information of text, that's it. Okay, so there are two way by which you can define the comment. So first is single line of comments. Simple, you can mention the hash. In some cases, let's say you want to mention the multiple lines of comments. So to mention the multiple line of comment, you can use the triple double quotes, and you can use the triple single quotes. Okay, and one important thing keep in mind, I was saying when you execute your program, your comment will not hamper your program anymore. So you can see that. Okay, so these are the two elegant way by which you can define your comments. Now we'll understand the print function. Print function. So guys, what is the print function? So print function is the most basic and usable function of the Python programming. Okay, so this print function is a built-in function. For an example, let's say if I mention here the type and I am checking the print. So when I execute this line, see what will happen. It will give you the built-in function or method. It means the print function is predefined or built-in function of the Python program. In case, let's say you want to check the parameters and what does the print, then you can mention here the print, or at the end you can mention the question mark. So this is the highlight and this is the doc string. What does that function? Okay, here you can mention your string, your separator, or your end line. So these two concept is very important while you are using the print. So we will see using the examples. So let's say for an example, I am taking a few variable and I will store some piece of information. For an example, let's say I am taking a variable a, then I am going to assign the 10. And I am taking a b and I am going to assign, let's say, hello. Simple, in case let's say you want to print the value of any variable, then simple you can mention print and a, and you can mention the print and b. Okay, in most of the book, maybe let's say you can find just like that. So this command is applicable only Python 2 version. Okay, so when you are working in Python 3 version, then you need to mention within the curly braces. So when I execute, so you can see that missing parenthesis in call to print. Okay, so we need to mention this one. In case, in some cases, I want to print all the value of my variable, let's say a comma b, then I can get all the values. Okay, or for an example, let's say if I'm using print, you can mention your string as well. Let's say a is having 10. Print B having a string. Simple, no need to mention here the comma. Let's say in case I am not mention the comma, simple I can concatenate and B, right? Print A is, I mention A, so it is giving me the error. Why? So guys, here what is happening? Here B, into the B variable I have hello string, right? So simple, I can concatenate the string using the plus sign. But here in the A, I have 10, which is integer. So you can read this type error. So can only concatenate string to string. But here, this is the string part and I'm going to concatenate, which is the integer. So which is not possible. So in case, let's say you want to use this concept, then simple, you can use here you can convert the str. So this is typecast. We have seen in the last session. So we can have the value of 10. For an example, once again, print A is percent %d. Percent %d is for integer. So percent %d for, I'm going to mention the comment, percent %d for integer value. If I'm taking, let's say, so here the str for string, right? So for an example, let's say I'm taking a value equal to 10.25. If I mention here print val is, I can mention here the percent %f. Percent %f is the representation of the float value. Percent %f for float. So these things you can use. Okay. And one important thing you keep in mind here, I am using the optional keywords. So optional keyword arguments and print function. So guys, there are two option keyword, which is first is separator and second is and within the print function. So how we can use them? So first we'll discuss the separator. So separator means it can be a string which you would like to insert between the values. By default, string is a space in separate argument. So for example, print, and you can read this, a string inserted between the values by default is a space. And once you read the about the and parameters, so string appended after the last value, default a new line. Okay, these things keep in mind. I'm going to copy here and paste here so that you can easily remember that. These two things. Okay, now if I'm going to mention, let's say in this session, right, I'm using here the comma, we are learning, for any example I'm taking Python print function, once again escape sequences and comments. If I'm using here the separator equal to /n, see what will be the output. Okay, so here, so the separator is here the comma. After this separator, I'm going to mention the /n. /n is nothing, is the escape sequence characters. Okay, I will give you the list and I'll let you know how we can use them. But here you need to focus. After the each separator, I am using the /n. Okay, so here you can see that in this session, so this is the particular separator which is comma. After that, I am going to mention /n, then we are learning, then once again /n, and so on. For once again, I am going to copy this entire line, copy, and I'm going to paste here. Fine. If I'm not using this one, okay, so by default, you can see that it will provide the simple space. Okay, separator is by default space, so you can see that default is space. So after the each separator, it is providing the space. Okay, and one more thing. For an example, let's say I'm going to paste once again, but here I'm not going to provide a default space or a slash n. What I'm doing, in place of slash n, or maybe like by default is a space, I'm going to provide the something, let's say Python. Can you guess what would be the answer? Simple. After the each separator, it will be add this word Python. You can see that after the each separator. So first separator after the session, you can see that Python, and after the learning, and so on. Okay, so these things you need to remember. Okay, and one more thing. For an example, now I'm going to talking about the end. This end. Okay, we have seen already about the separator. Fine. Now I'm talking about the end. So here I mentioned string appended after the last value, default a new line. See, for an example, if I'm writing here print, hi friends, how are you? Okay. And here I am going to provide to build the concept practice more. Any string you can mention. If I am hitting the shift enter, see what is happening. So first the print is printing this line. After that, the and is giving me this default a new line. Okay, so it is giving me a new line, which is from here. From here, now I am going to print this one. Okay, and now if I'm copy the same example, okay, and paste here, if I'm using here, let's say, and now you can guess what will be the answer. See, these two lines are combined, right? Because the by default, I'm going to mention by default and will provide new line. But here I change to the blank space. Okay. So remember one thing, by default, the separator adds a blank space between each word by default. Okay, so for an example, let's say I'm talking about now separator. For an example, let's say print, I'm going to mention, let's say to learning. Okay, then I'm going to use the separator, which is comma Python, like dating a girl. Anything you can mention. If I execute that, what will happen? After the each separator, it will provide the space using the separator. Okay, once again these concept, once again I'm going to copy here and I'm going to paste here. Okay, and here, so you guys know by default and will provide this lesson. Okay, new line, but I don't want to have a new line, then I can mention and equal to, then I can mention this one. So you can see that. Okay, so these things you need to remember. And see, once again I'm going to paste here, and here if I'm using the print, anyone can guess what would be the answer? See, by default I was saying by this line the and will provide the slash n, because in this second line there is, I'm not mention any string, so it will also provide me a new line. Okay, so you can see the output. Okay, so I hope you understood what I'm trying to explain here. Okay, so guys, you can practice by yourself so that you can easily understand the concept and use them in the Python code. Okay, now I'm going to move the escape sequence characters. Okay, so the programmer refer to the backslash character as a escape characters. Okay, so it has a special meaning when we use it inside the string. Okay, so with the help of escape characters, we can easily customize the string. Okay, so for an example, I am asking a one question, basic question I am going to ask. For an example, the question is how to print programming is fun. So how we can print the programming is fun. Okay, I'm not saying just like that you can print. I'm not saying like that. I want this code as well. I want the code as well. So how we can do that? Let's say if I mention just like this, some people think we can mention here this one, delete, and this one. Do you think it's the correct syntax? No, it is an invalid syntax. But using the escape sequence character, we can easily achieve this purpose. How? I am using the print, okay, backslash, simple. Once again, I am going to mention here the programming is fun. Then here, I'm going to mention backslash and quote, backslash and quote. Now we can achieve the purpose. Simple. You can see that. Okay. So let's say, for example, I saw your name comments on my channel, for an example. But here, if I'm using the slash, see what will happen? It will give me this one, because this is the slash and represent to the new line of characters. Once again, print, let's say I'm going to mention C, and I'm going to, let's say I have a folder which is name. If I print this, what will happen? This one. But how can I get this output? How can I get this output? I know the slash n is basically for new line character. Okay, so it will give me the new line. But in case I want to achieve this purpose, so we need to mention another slash. Okay. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to mention here list of most usable escape sequence characters. So for an example, this one here, single characters, this one. So for any, we can achieve, let's say this one. I was mentioned this one, right? And here we can mention using the single character as well. Okay, so it will give me the single code. Okay. So here we can use this one. After that, we have this one for the double quote. Okay, double quote. Then we have backslash, and we have slash n for new line, and we have slash t for horizontal tab, and we have slash b backspace. Okay, some more or list usable escape characters are also available, but these are the most usable escape characters into the Python. Okay, so here for an example, if I print here the print example, see what will happen. This one, Okay. Or let's say if I mention here name, which is for an example, Daniel, any name you can mention, and print your name is, then I'm going to mention here this one colon, and I mention the slash t. Slash t is basically for the to press a tab, to press a tab, right? So tab is basically the 4 white space characters, comma, name. So tab is basically gives the 4 white space. Okay, provides the 4 white space. You can see that. Okay. So guys, tell me one thing. If I mention here, I'm going to provide the space and then slash b, which denote by the backslash, and I'm going to mention Daniel. What would be the answer? Anybody can guess? This one. Okay. And for an example, let's say print, I'm going to mention the first name, which is let's say Daniel, and the second name I'm going to mention, for example, Simit. You can see. Once again, I mentioned something, keep learning and practice. Here I am using the separator, which is B. So you can see that. Okay. So the each separator, right? After the each separator, it is giving the backslash B. So that's why the P has gone, G has gone, D has gone, and the last character of each word is gone. Okay, so guys, this is all about the escape sequence character. Once again, I'm going to summarize this session. So at the initial, we have seen how we can define the commits into the Python programming. So there are 2 elegant ways by which we can define the commits, which is the single line comment and multiple line of comment. Comment is nothing, it's just a user guide, right? And after that, we have seen how we can use the built-in function, which is the print function. So there are so many things we can do with the help of print function. We can easily customize the string, we can print the output, right? And lots of things we can do that. These are the two important part, which is separator and. So these things you need to remember while you are working or while you are using these two methods, which is separator and. Okay, so in the separator, default a space. In the end line, the end separator, default a new line. And I'm giving you lots of examples so that you can easily understand, right? And these are the most usable sequence characters into the Python. So guys, this is all about the comment, escape, and print function. So please practice so that you can easily use this concept in your Python code. In case any question on this, please let me know in the below comment. I hope you learned something new in this tutorial. So guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon in next session. Keep learning and have a great day.